The internet did not just explode today, you guys. It was completely, utterly, and systematically reduced to absolute ashes. Right now, as we speak, timelines across TikTok, X, and YouTube are experiencing a literal digital meltdown, and it all traces back to 5 words that no one, and I mean absolutely no one, saw coming. Michael B. Jordan. Hotel. Leak. Imagine sitting at home, minding your own business, scrolling through your feed, only to stumble upon a grainy, heart-stopping hotel surveillance clip that destroys a Hollywood empire in less than 30 seconds. We are talking about Room 609, a room that has now become the most infamous location in pop culture history. But hold on to your seats, because the mastermind who allegedly pulled the trigger on this explosive drop is none other than the industry's ultimate truth-teller and professional bridge burner, Katt Williams. Yes, you heard that correctly. Katt Williams just walked into the chat, threw a literal emotional grenade, and walked away smirking. The footage is chilling, but it's the audio that will give you actual goosebumps. In the background of that room, a voice that sounds unmistakably like Katt's whispers with a cold, calm precision. Smile, Michael. The world will love this version of you. And where was Lori Harvey when her entire world was being violently flipped upside down? She was live on air, filming her evening show. The cameras caught the exact agonizing microsecond her heart shattered into a million pieces. From confusion to pure, unadulterated heartbreak, she muttered, "This is the man I defended, and he sold my soul for ratings." Was this a simple case of a Hollywood romance gone wrong? Or are we looking at the most calculated, ruthless, and perfectly executed corporate takedown the entertainment industry has ever witnessed? Grab your popcorn, lock your doors, and turn up your volume, because we are diving deep into the dark, twisted rabbit hole of how Lori Harvey lost absolutely everything in a matter of 24 hours. The chaos didn't just stop with that live broadcast, you guys. The moment Lori Harvey threw off her microphone and the studio lights went completely dark, the entire entertainment industry entered a state of pure, unadulterated panic. We are talking about a perfectly timed, highly weaponized PR disaster that was specifically designed to ensure she could never, ever recover. To truly understand the gravity of this situation, we have to look at who is actually sitting at this table of betrayal. We have Michael B. Jordan, the golden boy of Hollywood, a man whose entire brand is built on being the charming, respectable, and deeply loyal partner. For years, the public looked at him and Lori as the ultimate blueprint of a modern power couple. She defended him against every single rumor, every blind item, and every critic who said their relationship was just a calculated publicity stunt. She gave him access to her elite social circles, her family's massive media influence, and a level of cultural credibility that money simply cannot buy. And how does he repay her? By allegedly booking a secluded suite at a high-end luxury hotel, walking in with a locked briefcase, and sitting down for a meeting that looks more like a corporate mob deal than a romantic getaway. But of course, a Hollywood golden boy doesn't just morph into a calculated villain overnight, without a mastermind pulling the strings from the shadows. Enter Katt Williams. This is a man who has made it his absolute life mission to burn down every single fake structure in the entertainment industry. He is the ultimate wild card, a person who fears absolutely no one, no studio executive, no billionaire producer, and certainly no celebrity power couple. When Katt Williams went on that legendary podcast run earlier this year and promised that a reckoning was coming for Hollywood's elite, we all thought he was just talking trash for views. We thought he was just an eccentric comedian blowing off steam because he was bored. Nobody realized he was sitting on a mountain of hard evidence, waiting for the exact psychological moment to drop the nuclear bomb. By leaking this specific footage of Michael B. Jordan, Katt didn't just expose a secret. He initiated a full-scale corporate execution. He knew exactly what he was doing by timing the release to coincide perfectly with Lori's live television broadcast. He wanted the world to witness her psychological collapse in real time, ensuring that her raw, unedited heartbreak would become a permanent, unerasable viral moment. But let's be entirely real for a second, because the plot thickens to a point where it almost sounds like a Hollywood psychological thriller. The real kicker, the absolute jaw-dropping twist that turned this from a messy celebrity breakup into a dark industry conspiracy, is the identity of the mysterious woman sitting across from Michael B. Jordan in Room 609. When the grainy surveillance footage first hit X and TikTok, internet sleuths spent hours adjusting the brightness, zooming in on the shadows, and analyzing the reflection in the wine glasses. And when the final high-definition enhancement dropped, the collective gasp of the internet could be heard from New York to Los Angeles. It wasn't some random Instagram model. It wasn't an aspiring actress looking for a handout. It was Jessie Buckley. Let that sink in for a moment. Jessie Buckley, an absolute icon of industry power, a creative genius, and more importantly, a woman who has shared spaces, resources, and deep industry secrets with Lori Harvey for years. We are talking about the ultimate definitive backstab. Seeing Jessie Buckley sitting in that dimly lit room, looking completely comfortable, completely relaxed, and utterly unbothered, changed the entire narrative within seconds. This wasn't a sudden impulsive mistake made by Michael B. Jordan on a random Tuesday night. This was a long-term, deeply hidden secret affair that had been operating right under Lori's nose for months. Imagine the level of deception required to look your close friend in the eye, attend the same exclusive industry events, laugh at the same tables, all while actively sleeping with her partner and planning her ultimate downfall behind closed doors. Jessie Buckley wasn't just there as a romantic partner, though. The way she was interacting with Michael, the way her eyes were fixed on the documents spread across that table, proved that this meeting was about something much bigger, much darker, and infinitely more dangerous than a simple Hollywood affair. If you look closely at the leaked footage, Michael B. Jordan isn't acting like a man who is caught up in the passion of a secret romance. He looks like a businessman delivering an asset. He slides a sleek black briefcase across the table toward Jessie Buckley. And this isn't just any briefcase. Sources close to Lori's production team have already confirmed that this exact briefcase had been reported missing from Lori's private home office just 2 weeks prior to the leak. Inside that case weren't love letters or expensive jewelry. It reportedly contained highly confidential network documents, unreleased intellectual property, private financial audits of Lori's media empire, and personal emails that detailed sensitive legal negotiations between Lori and major television executives. Michael B. Jordan literally raided the home of the woman he claimed to love, stole her most valuable professional assets, and delivered them directly into the hands of Jessie Buckley on a silver platter. The presence of Katt Williams's voice in that recording is what ties this entire sinister web together. He wasn't just a passive observer who happened to stumble upon the tape and decide to post it for internet clout. The chilling tone of his voice saying, "Smile, Michael. The world will love this version of you," implies a level of directorial control. It sounds like Katt was either physically in the room, standing just outside the door, or monitoring a live feed of the entire encounter. He was acting as the orchestrator, the man ensuring that every single piece of evidence was captured with absolute forensic precision. Katt knew that if he just leaked a rumor, the public would dismiss it. If he just leaked an audio clip, Michael's PR team would claim it was artificial intelligence or a deepfake designed to ruin his career. But by capturing Michael B. Jordan, Jessie Buckley, and the stolen corporate documents all in one frame, Katt created an undeniable airtight trap that no high-priced Hollywood lawyer could ever wiggle out of. What makes this entire situation so incredibly sickening is the sheer history of loyalty that Lori Harvey possessed for both of these individuals. She didn't just date Michael B. Jordan. She shielded him from the vulture-like nature of the paparazzi. She used her extensive family legacy, her connections with major networks, and her pristine public image to elevate him from a standard A-list actor into a legitimate cultural mogul. Whenever the blogs tried to paint him as arrogant, distant, or disingenuous, Lori was the first to step onto a red carpet, hold his hand, and give an interview praising his character. She put her own hard-earned reputation on the line to validate his place in the industry. And Jessie Buckley was someone Lori considered a sister in a cutthroat business where real friendships are almost impossible to find. They shared styling teams, they coordinated business strategies, and they constantly supported each other's entrepreneurial ventures. To find out that the two people you trusted with your deepest vulnerabilities were actively meeting in room 609 to orchestrate your professional execution is a level of psychological warfare that would break the strongest person on earth. And break she did, right in front of millions of people. When that notification dropped, Lori was in the middle of a high-stakes, live television broadcast for her evening show. She was sitting under the bright studio lights, talking about empowerment, success, and navigating the entertainment industry, completely oblivious to the fact that her entire reality had just been liquidated online. The viral clip of her producer walking onto the set, trembling, and whispering into her earpiece will be studied by pop culture historians for decades. You can literally see the exact moment the color drains from her face. You can see her eyes widen in absolute horror as the studio monitors behind the cameras begin flashing the breaking news headlines. Her voice, usually so poised, so controlled, and so articulate, completely gave out when she whispered those final devastating words. "This is the man I defended, and he sold my soul for ratings." She wasn't just talking about a boyfriend cheating. She was realizing in real time that her entire life, her entire career, and her entire sense of security had been turned into a public circus for the amusement of her worst enemies. The aftermath in the studio was absolute pandemonium. The moment Lori ripped off her microphone and stormed off the set, the network executive panic buttons were pressed simultaneously across multiple continents. The live feed was cut so fast that viewers at home were left staring at a black screen with a looping technical difficulties message for over 20 minutes. But the damage wasn't just done. It was permanently cemented into the digital ecosystem. Within 60 seconds of the feed cutting, the clip of Lori's live emotional breakdown had been downloaded, clipped, and re-uploaded over 50,000 times across X and TikTok. The comment sections didn't just erupt. They became a toxic wasteland of speculation, cruelty, and shock. Half the internet was in a state of deep mourning for Lori, expressing absolute disgust at Michael and Jessie Buckley's monstrous behavior, while the other half, the trolls, the cynics, and the haters who always wanted to see Lori fail, began celebrating, claiming that her downfall was the ultimate form of cosmic karma. But while the internet was busy fighting over who was right and who was wrong, the corporate machinery behind the scenes was moving with terrifying speed to erase Lori Harvey from existence. By the time the sun began to rise the next morning, the financial consequences of Room 609 started to hit hard. Major corporate sponsors, brands that had signed multi-million-dollar endorsement deals with Lori based entirely on her pristine, drama-free reputation, began releasing public statements distancing themselves from her. They didn't care that she was the victim of a malicious leak. They didn't care that her heart had been broken on live television. In the cold, ruthless world of corporate media, controversy is a virus, and Lori was currently patient zero. One by one, beauty brands, fashion houses, and lifestyle corporations pulled their advertisements, canceled upcoming campaigns, and scrubbed her face from their websites. In less than 12 hours, her net worth took a catastrophic hit, proving that the individuals in that hotel room didn't just want to break her heart. They wanted to completely bankrupt her empire. And then came the official press release from the television network itself, which acted as the final nail in the coffin for her professional life. The statement was brief, cold, and utterly devoid of empathy. It stated that due to the ongoing public controversy, intense social media scrutiny, and potential legal complications surrounding the leaked documents, the Lori Harvey evening show was being suspended indefinitely, effective immediately, pending a comprehensive internal review. They didn't even have the decency to call her into an office to explain it to her face. They didn't offer her a temporary leave of absence to process her trauma. They simply put out a digital notice and locked her out of the building. The network executives, the very people who had spent months begging her to sign contracts, the people who praised her ratings and called her the future of television, abandoned her the absolute second things got messy. She was completely erased from her own network, sitting in her empty home, surrounded by flashing paparazzi lights outside her windows, watching her entire life's work disappear into thin air, while the internet continued to feast on her public humiliation. The silence inside Lori Harvey's mansion that morning was heavier than any funeral, but outside, the atmosphere was a chaotic circus of flashing lights and screaming reporters. Paparazzi had set up base camps on her lawn, pointing massive zoom lenses at every window, hoping to catch a single glimpse of the fallen star. News vans lined the streets, their engines idling as anchors broadcasted live updates every 15 minutes, treating her personal devastation like a sports event. Every major gossip blog, every mainstream news channel, and every daytime talk show had her name flashing on the screen in bright red letters. The world wasn't just talking about her anymore. They were dissecting her, analyzing the exact mechanics of her public downfall with a sense of morbid curiosity. Lori stood in the middle of her living room, the blinds drawn tight, holding her phone with a trembling grip as she replayed the Room 609 video for what felt like the 1000th time. She wasn't looking at Michael B. Jordan's face anymore, Nor was she focusing on Jessie Buckley's smug posture. She was listening to the breathing in the background, trying to decode the invisible hands that had pushed her off the cliff. Just as the public discourse reached a fever pitch, the digital ecosystem shook once again when a prominent online whistleblowing platform announced the arrival of a second leak. This wasn't a re-upload or an extended version of the first clip. It was an entirely different angle, captured by a hidden camera position directly across the hallway from room 609. The footage showed the moments leading up to the meeting, providing an undeniable forensic timeline that destroyed any remaining doubts about premeditation. In this new clip, Michael B. Jordan can be seen walking down the dimly lit hotel corridor, looking over his shoulder nervously before entering the room with a heavy black briefcase. The internet immediately recognized that specific briefcase because it had been featured in several of Lori's behind-the-scenes office vlogs just a month prior. This second angle proved that Michael hadn't just accidentally stumbled into a corporate trap. He had actively executed a planned burglary from the woman he claimed to love, carrying her intellectual property through a hotel hallway like a thief in the night. The secondary angle also captured something even more sinister that sent shockwaves through Hollywood's legal circles. About 10 minutes after Michael entered the room, a high-level media executive, known for managing some of the biggest television networks in the country, was seen walking down the same hallway, accompanied by Katt Williams. The executive wasn't hiding his face. He looked confident, holding a folder of papers and talking closely with Katt before they both entered room 609. This single piece of visual evidence changed the entire nature of the scandal from a messy romantic betrayal into a high-stakes case of corporate espionage. It became crystal clear to every legal analyst on television that Lori Harvey's show wasn't suspended because of public controversy. It was suspended because her competitor networks had successfully acquired her confidential data and used it to paralyze her business. The romantic affair between Michael and Jessie Buckley was simply the emotional bait used to keep Lori distracted, while the corporate mafia dismantled her empire from behind the curtain. As the afternoon rolled in, the public's focus shifted toward Katt Williams, who had booked an appearance on a highly popular, unfiltered industry podcast to address the leaks. The live stream accumulated over 3 million viewers within the first 5 minutes of going live, with the chat moving so fast it caused the platform's servers to temporarily crash. Katt sat in the studio chair, looking entirely unbothered, dressed in a sharp designer suit, sipping tea as the hosts practically vibrated with excitement. When asked directly why he decided to leak the footage and ruin Lori Harvey's career, Katt leaned into the microphone with a cold, slow smile that sent chills through the audience. He looked directly into the lens and said that he didn't start the fire. He just showed everyone who lit the match, adding that people should stop crying for a victim who was playing a dangerous game herself. He implied that Lori was preparing to launch a massive media monopoly that would have crushed independent creators and smaller networks, and that Room 609 was simply an act of cultural self-defense. Katt's words acted like gasoline on an already raging fire, dividing the internet into two radically opposing factions. One side of the digital world immediately hailed Katt Williams as a legendary hero, a fearless truth-teller who had single-handedly exposed the corrupt, monopolistic nature of Hollywood's elite families. They began creating compilations of his past interviews, claiming that he had been warning the world about this specific corporate takedown for months. On the other side, Lori's loyal fanbase and advocacy groups called him a malicious, misogynistic bully who had weaponized a woman's private heartbreak for internet clout and network payouts. The hashtags began fighting for dominance on X, with one camp screaming for justice for Lori, while the other claimed that karma had finally come to collect its debt from a woman who had controlled the media narrative for far too long. Yet, amidst all the noise, nobody was paying attention to the quiet maneuvers happening within the legal system behind closed doors. By late evening, a massive bombshell dropped from an entirely unexpected source when a former junior partner at Michael B. Jordan's old corporate law firm leaked a series of encrypted text messages. The whistleblower, remaining completely anonymous due to fear of severe industry retaliation, revealed that the hotel meeting had actually taken place nearly 6 weeks before the video was leaked. The documents spread across the table in room 609 weren't just standard contracts. They were non-disclosure agreements and transfer of ownership deeds for Lori's production company. According to the whistleblower, Michael and Jessie Buckley had been working under a secret contract with a rival media conglomerate to slowly drain Lori's resources, ensuring that she would be financially desperate enough to sign over her life's work. The timing of the leak during her live broadcast wasn't an accident or a cruel joke by Katt Williams. It was a legally mandated deadline designed to tank her company's stock value before the morning trading bell rang on Wall Street. This revelation turned the entire scandal into an international business thriller, catching the attention of federal regulatory agencies and financial investigators. Legal experts began appearing on major news networks, explaining that if Michael B. Jordan had indeed stolen corporate documents from Lori's home to facilitate a hostile takeover, he wasn't just looking at a bad reputation. He was looking at serious federal prison time for corporate fraud and grand larceny. The narrative shifted from a heartbreaking story of a cheated girlfriend to a terrifying cautionary tale about the lengths to which corporate executives will go to silence an independent black woman rising through the ranks of media ownership. The public began to realize that Lori Harvey wasn't just crying because her boyfriend was in a hotel room with another woman. She was crying because she realized that her entire romance had been a multi-year corporate operation designed to infiltrate her home and steal her legacy. While the legal world debated the financial implications, the physical reality outside Lori's home became increasingly dangerous and dystopian. As the clock struck midnight, neighbors reported seeing a heavily tinted, completely unmarked black SUV parked directly across from Lori's driveway, its headlights turned off but its engine humming silently in the dark. The driver never stepped out, and the vehicle lacked any official press markings, distinguishing it from the standard paparazzi vans surrounding the property. A close friend of Lori's later revealed to an investigative reporter that during those exact hours, Lori's private cell phone began buzzing repeatedly with messages from untraceable, encrypted numbers. One specific text message, which was later screenshotted and shared with a select group of trusted journalists, read with a chilling simplicity, "You were never supposed to see that clip. Walk away from the network negotiations while you still can, or the next leak won't just ruin your career. It will erase your name permanently." The psychological toll of these threats was immense, pushing Lori into a space of absolute isolation where she couldn't even trust the security staff inside her own home. She realized that the people she had paid to protect her might have been bought out by the same media executives who orchestrated the Room 609 setup. Every camera in her house felt like a spy lens. Every email felt like a trap. Every phone call sounded like a warning from a ghost. Her legal team advised her to remain completely silent, to issue no statements, and to let the corporate PR machinery handle the fallout. But Lori knew that silence in Hollywood is equivalent to an admission of guilt. She watched as her image was slowly altered by the media narrative, transforming her from a respected, powerful television host into a helpless, broken victim who had been outsmarted by her peers. She knew that if she didn't move fast, the concrete of public opinion would set, and she would be buried alive under the weight of their lies. But what Michael B. Jordan, Jessie Buckley, and Katt Williams completely failed to calculate was that Lori Harvey was not a woman who built her empire on luck. She built it on survival. While the world spent the third consecutive day celebrating her apparent demise and counting down the hours until her network contract was officially terminated, Lori was quietly converting her heartbreak into pure, calculated rage. She stopped crying, she stopped replaying the tape, and she began contacting the few independent digital forensic experts who owed no allegiance to the major Hollywood studios. She knew that every digital footprint leaves a shadow, and if Katt Williams had access to a surveillance feed from Room 609, then someone had to have authorized that access. Lori spent 48 hours straight tracing the digital routing codes of the original video file, looking for the exact IP address that had uploaded the bomb to the internet, and what she discovered would give her the exact ammunition she needed to launch the most devastating counter-strike the entertainment industry had ever seen, setting the stage for a digital resurrection that would rewrite the rules of celebrity warfare. The counter-strike began on a quiet Thursday evening, when the internet was just starting to grow tired of the repetitive analysis videos about Lori Harvey's downfall. The major gossip pages were busy drafting articles about who would replace her on her late-night show, assuming she was completely out of the game. Suddenly, a notification pinged across millions of devices simultaneously as a new post appeared on Lori's official, verified social media accounts. There was no long, emotional caption, no corporate PR statement written by high-priced lawyers, and absolutely no trendy hashtags to chase the algorithm. It was just a black screen with a static countdown timer ticking down from 10 seconds. As the clock hit 0, a distorted, deep audio file began to play over a visual of moving digital code. A voice that sounded mechanically altered but completely clear filled the speakers of millions of smartphones, stating with an icy calm that the world had watched a carefully crafted fiction, but now it was time to look at the unedited truth. The video that followed the countdown didn't show Lori crying or pleading for sympathy. Instead, it cut directly to a crisp, high-definition recording taken inside a parked vehicle outside that very same hotel on the night of the original leak. The camera was pointed at a side entrance where Katt Williams was clearly visible, standing next to a professional cameraman who was adjusting a massive live streaming rig. The audio was incredibly sharp, capturing Katt as he checked his watch and leaned into the cameraman, telling him to make sure that Lori was completely live on air the exact second the file dropped. Katt could be heard laughing, saying he wanted to ensure her psychological breaking point happened on camera for maximum impact. The internet completely lost its collective mind within 60 seconds of this upload, as the viral momentum shifted so fast it caused a literal glitch in the trending topics algorithm on X. Within an hour, the digital landscape underwent a massive, unprecedented transformation, as the hashtags completely flipped from mocking Lori to demanding absolute corporate accountability. The public that had spent the last 3 days tearing Lori apart was now flooded with intense guilt and explosive anger directed toward Katt Williams and Michael B. Jordan. Compilations of the new footage spread like wildfire across TikTok, with creators pointing out that this wasn't an organic leak of a cheating scandal, but a malicious, premeditated psychological assault on a woman while she was doing her job. The phrase "justice for Lori" hit the #1 global trending spot, racking up over 2 million posts in less than 2 hours. Mainstream news outlets, which had been preparing segments on Lori's career termination, suddenly froze their regular programming to air live analysis of the new tape, realizing that they had been used as pawns in a massive media hit job. Katt Williams tried to launch an immediate damage control campaign, taking to his personal live stream to claim that the video Lori posted was an artificial intelligence deepfake designed to frame him. He argued that his voice had been cloned by advanced software, and that the digital forensics of the video wouldn't hold up in a court of law. However, his defense was completely dismantled within 2 hours, when a group of independent digital verification experts published an exhaustive analysis of the video's metadata. They proved that the file contained authentic, unedited cryptographic signatures that were impossible to replicate with current AI technology. The mask had officially cracked, and the public wasn't buying the comedy routine anymore. They wanted real answers about who was paying Katt to orchestrate such a devastating personal attack. The real nuclear bomb dropped at midnight when an anonymous whistleblower, using an encrypted server based in Switzerland, leaked a massive digital archive to top investigative journalists across the globe. This archive contained a series of high-level email threads, financial wire transfers, and encrypted chat logs between Michael B. Jordan, Katt Williams, and the CEO of a rival media conglomerate. The messages dated back over 8 months, detailing a highly calculated, paid corporate campaign specifically designed to destroy Lori's personal credibility. The documents revealed that Lori's evening show was on the verge of acquiring an independent investigative news division that was preparing to expose a massive financial money laundering ring involving several top-tier Hollywood executives, including the ones funding Michael's upcoming film projects. The corporate betrayal uncovered in these leaked emails was so deep it read like a white-collar crime thriller. The text messages showed Michael B. Jordan explicitly agreeing to use his romantic access to Lori's home to locate and steal the confidential legal dossier she had compiled on these executives. Jesse Buckley's role was also laid bare in the financial ledgers, which showed a wire transfer of over $4 million to a shell company registered under her name just 48 hours before the hotel meeting in room 609. Jessie Buckley wasn't just having an affair with Michael. She was being paid by the rival network to review the stolen documents in that hotel room and verify that Lori's investigative team hadn't already sent copies to federal prosecutors. The romantic affair was just a convenient cover story they used so that if they got caught, the media would frame it as a messy love triangle instead of a major federal corporate conspiracy. The next evening, Lori Harvey broke her silence completely by launching an unannounced, raw live stream from an undisclosed location. She wore no makeup, her eyes were tired and hollow from days of psychological warfare, but her posture was straight and her tone was sharp enough to cut glass. She looked directly into the camera, watching the live viewer count explode past 5 million people within 3 minutes. She stated that they called her dramatic, they called her delusional, and they told the world she was a bitter woman losing her mind over a breakup. She leaned forward, her voice cracking slightly but remaining incredibly steady, as she told her audience that her only real crime was trusting the people who ate at her table, while they were actively calculating how much her soul was worth to a rival network. Lori didn't just talk about her pain. She laid out the legal receipts on screen for the entire world to read. She showed the official federal filing documents proving that she had turned over the leaked email archives to the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Department of Justice earlier that afternoon. She looked into the camera and sent a direct message to Michael B. Jordan and Jessie Buckley, telling them that they wanted to turn her life into a scripted television show for ratings, but they forgot that she owns the production company. She ended the stream by stating that the script had officially changed, and she was taking back her narrative, before abruptly cutting the feed and leaving the internet in a state of absolute awe. The public reaction to her live stream was nothing short of a digital resurrection, as public sympathy swung back in her favor with an intensity that Hollywood had never seen before. Major streaming platforms immediately began bidding for the rights to produce a multi-part documentary series about the corporate takedown attempt, with production companies offering Lori creative control and millions of dollars to tell her side of the story. The brands that had dropped her 24 hours prior began frantically sending public apologies, claiming they had been misled by the initial reports and offering to double her original contract amounts to win her back. Her television network released a panic statement retracting her suspension, offering her a public apology, and promising her an executive producer title if she agreed to return to her evening slot. But just as the world was celebrating Lori's massive victory and preparing for the downfall of her enemies, the story took one final terrifying turn that left everyone completely paralyzed. At exactly 3 o'clock in the morning, a ghost account on X uploaded a final 15-second video clip that had been recorded by Michael B. Jordan just hours before he completely went missing from the public eye. The video was shot in a dark, moving vehicle, with the streetlights casting eerie shadows across Michael's face. He looked completely exhausted, his eyes bloodshot, and he wasn't looking at the camera with his usual Hollywood charm. He looked directly into the lens, breathed heavily, and uttered one final chilling sentence that threw the entire narrative back into total chaos. "You all think she won, but you don't know what she did to get there. She's next." The screen immediately cut to black, and within seconds, the ghost account was completely deleted from the platform, leaving no trace of who uploaded it. The internet sat in a collective, stunned silence as the video was shared across every forum, destroying the neat conclusion everyone had just celebrated. The lines between who was the true victim and who was the true villain became entirely blurred once again, leaving millions of viewers frantically refreshing their timelines. As the sun began to rise on a new day of speculation, the world had to accept one terrifying truth about this Hollywood war. In a game played at this level of power and deception, nobody is truly innocent, and the real destruction is only just beginning. And that, you guys, is where the digital matrix completely fractures. We started this week thinking we were watching a messy celebrity cheating scandal, and we are ending it standing at the edge of a massive federal corporate conspiracy that goes all the way to the top of Hollywood's elite power structures. Michael B. Jordan is currently missing. Jessie Buckley's legal team has completely locked down her accounts. Katt Williams is facing an existential crisis over his digital footprint, and Harvey is holding the keys to a kingdom that might burn the entire industry to the ground. But I want to know what you guys think about that final, chilling warning from Michael B. Jordan. Is Harvey truly the innocent mastermind who just exposed a corporate mafia? Or is Michael telling the truth? Does Lori have an even darker secret that is about to leak next? Drop your wildest theories in the comment section below, because you already know I am reading every single one of them. If you want to stay ahead of the narrative and find out exactly what happens when the next leak drops, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Do not blink, because in this game the truth changes with every single refresh. Stay tuned, stay skeptical, and I will see you guys in the next breaking update.